Hello everybody, this is Secondhand Dan coming to you again from the Penny Pincher Thrift Shop Secondhand Store Land in Pittsburgh. What I'm up to today is I'm going to do a slight restoration of a vacuum cleaner, get it ready to sell on the eBay. I sold one a lot like this one I'm going to do about a month ago, and it brought some nice money for what I had into it. You know, usually I see these vacuum cleaners at some yard sales. I'm like $5, maybe $10 I'll spend on it. So they can be a nice flip sometimes. So let's check out this vacuum cleaner that I have, and we're going to clean it up. Now the vacuum in question that we're going to be cleaning up, you know, going over, make sure that it's reaches a certain standard before I try and sell it. I do have my reputation. Like I said, I sold one of these, this particular model, like the same color. It's a Hoover. It's a Hoover 1348. 1348 is the model on that. And I actually sold one. It's sold on September 10th. And it's sold for $187. That's some good money for a vintage vacuum cleaner. You know, that at first glance you think there's nothing significant about it. But what is significant about it is it's like their compact version. It's a little narrower than almost all the other Hoovers of the same era. This one, unfortunately, it looks like it's missing the rubber bumper. Maybe I'll look online and see if it's available for a couple of dollars, but my other one had a rubber bumper. If you want to see it, check it out on the sold category on eBay. My eBay handle is Auction Boss. That's right, it's Auction Boss, and I've had that same handle on eBay since like 1995, I think it was. So if you come across any other auction bosses out there on the eBay, they're going to have either a prefix or a suffix, you know, like Auction Boss 2 or Auction Boss Dude or Auction Boss Girl. But I feel that I'm the original auction boss on eBay. So I'm going to have to clear the workbench off. You know, it's a bit dirty. So I have a project I'm still working on, a lamp. I'll give you a close-up on that in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and clean this workbench off. And what I do need to do right now is go and get my lapel microphone. So as I travel to and forth from the phone here, which is my camera, we still maintain a good sound quality. So hold on a sec, I'll be back. All right, lapel mic is in position. Cousin Roy was here yesterday. I have a vehicle, a 1992 E350 box truck. Let me show it to you real quick. It's just, we'll look out the back window here. I said, Cousin Roy and I yesterday, there's my old box truck. It's only got like 48,000 miles on it. We can get a better, there we go. We started, it hasn't been started in maybe 4 years. It started, but you know, it's running rough. It was a heck of a time trying to get it into any gears. The shifter did not want to move, so Roy crawled under there and sprayed it with some penetrating oil, and I kept trying to move the lever back and forth. It took a lot of effort, but it's still a bit sticky, but we were able to get it into the gears. But even in the gears now, it just lurches slightly forward, lurches slightly backward. So I'm not sure if maybe the brakes are stuck on it, but Roy says he wants to buy it. So I'm willing to let it go. I used to clean outs, you know, houses, and I used to take this mug up to the flea market and take 2 spots and set up 10 tables and then boxes all over the ground of merchandise. those were the days. I even did specialty shows like antique shows where you take just specific used items, antiques and collectibles. Not, you don't want to take your pots and your pans and your blue jeans and kids' toys. You want to take higher end stuff. So I used to do some of the antique shows with that thing. And I even drove out of state to do some. Well, I got the idea, like, I'm going to Florida. What if I filled it up and take it down to Florida to the auctioneer I'm working with and empty it out down there maybe over a period of a couple of months? Because if it was full of stuff, the auctioneer, you know, let me have like 2-3 tables maybe every week. And I don't want to saturate the auction with my stuff. But Roy says he wants to buy it, and I'm going to sell it to him if he comes up with the money. So I said only 47,000 miles on it. Well, let's get back to the vacuum cleaner. I'm going to start again by clearing this workbench off. Fortunately, it's not too bad, unlike the neighboring workbench. If you're interested in workbenches, I have a video about my workbenches because they are definitely different and they're both appreciated. All right, well, let me sit you back in the tripod. Oh, the tripod, that's kind of cool. Let me show you my tripod. This is professional quality. I actually bought this at an auction in Ohio. And there was some bidders on it besides me. A lot of times you say, oh, I hope I'm the only one. I hope nobody else is interested. But at least 1 or 2 other people were seriously interested. And I think it got close to $50. And it's a Bogan. When they're known for sound equipment, amplifiers and stuff like this, I guess, but it's telescopic. That's tube will go up and down, and then there's swivel, tilt left, right, and tilt back. Now, $50 was still a good deal because, like I say, it's a professional model, and it came with, I think, with 2 lesser tripods as far as value. So I use the lesser tripods, maybe, you know, set them up outside where I don't have to worry about them. This one rolls across the floor, and it will lock in place. So if you're watching my video and you notice a little tremble, and that's probably because I'm rolling it across the floor with the camera in mount. All right, let me clear this workbench off. Sometimes I cheat when I clear a workbench off and I just heave it all to the next workbench, but I'm not going to do that because it just comes back to bite you in the behind later. The other workbench will be twice as messy. I love to do this kind of work, but, you know, like a lot of chefs, they love to create all these fantastic recipes, but they don't like to clean up. They have people do it for them. Well, I don't have anybody to do it for me. Blowgun. Blowgun goes on the end of my air hose. This is a tough son of a gun, this coupling on this. Takes a lot of muscle for this particular coupling. All right. Doorknob. I think this is going up to my house that I bought up the road that I'm trying to rehab. Drill bits going up there. Doing some work in the basement. I have a house about a mile up the road that we bought to flip. But it's been a slow going. It's not that it needs so much work. It's just that I got so many irons in the fire. All right. Here's another mount for, I guess, for the phone. You can see I was trying to improvise it and make it mount to something else. Get out my dust broom. Put this can of paint over here on the shelf. Can you believe $187 for what just looks like a rickety old vacuum cleaner? I mean, I appreciate people have passions for certain things. I don't. I mean, it's fun dabbling in all this stuff because I don't have to commit to any one particular genre. So I can appreciate their interest in it. Sometimes people ask me, well, what do I collect? I say I collect Ben Franklin's and Andrew Jackson's. And is it Hamilton? People are on the $100 bill. That's dustpan. I own 5 dustpans, and I turn around and I can't find one of them. So, a little lowbrow here, just sweeping into my hand. Take it over to the trash can. All right, we'll put this Hoover up on the workbench. And like I said, here's a Hoover probably from the same era. You can see that this one is definitely wider. Take a tape measure just for... The wide one is 12 inches. The narrow one is like 10 inches. I guess the smaller one's probably great for apartment dwellers, you know, who like collectibles. And because it's a practical item too. It isn't just that it's cool and people say, oh, what a cool vacuum cleaner. It's practical. You're going to be able to use it too. What now this doesn't have the, like a lot of Hoovers, the whole bottom will come off. Like this one here, if the bottom is still on it. This one, the bottom is not on it right now, but those can be had, especially when you go to yard sales. You'll probably find another vacuum cleaner, and whichever's the better one you want to restore, we'll get the bottom part. I actually used to work in a, out of high school, I worked at a vacuum repair business because I had gone to school to learn electrical wiring and motor control, and I was probably a little, quote, overqualified, but I liked it. It was fun. I'm glad I did it. I used to even restore the Kirby vacuum cleaner, which is a aluminum body vacuum cleaner. You take them all apart and put new brushes in it, you know, clean the thing. And I'd actually have to buff all the body of the Kirby with, use a buffing wheel with a rosin pad and put new bag on them. We're not going to get too crazy. We'll definitely give this one here a bath. But the first thing we should do is go ahead and plug it in and make sure it's a runner, not just a growler, that it's not frozen up or that's blowing smoke. The cord looks to be in good condition. Now, yeah, I see no cracking or splits on the cord, so let me plug it in. Switch is, oh, this one's got the switch down on the body. Some have the switch up on the handle. So you can't tell just to look at it whether or not it's on. We're going to find out as soon as I plug it in. It's on. It didn't sound too bad. I did expect a cloud of dust. I knew that was going to happen. Here's where the paper bag goes on here. It's like putting a shirt sleeve on there. There's a rubber band then you would roll up to hold the bag in place. I'm sure I've got a bag. I've got a basket full of bags of different vacuum cleaners. But it's running good, so let's go ahead and start to break it down a little bit, because it makes it easier to clean up. And plus I got to maybe blow out the insides with my compressor, because I don't want anybody else to turn it on and have another cloud of dust come out, or for it to smell a little musky because of the old dust on there. So do that, flip it over, release the handle, there are 2 screws on the bottom of it. Oh. Trying to move you. There we go. There are 2 screws, and they are Phillips. Now it's also not just, it's 2-pointed. I need one a little better situated. Let me get my coffee. It's sitting over here before the dust settles into it. Heat it up in the microwave here. It's nice having a microwave in the shop here. I've been enjoying a 2nd cup of coffee now for the past week. Whereas usually for years I'd only been like 1 cup of coffee, but 2 seems to be doing for me now. In my younger days, you know, I'd be like at least 3 cups during a work day when I would get to my employer. They had a 40-cup coffee pot there. Don't have a cow, man. I like the cow mugs. I probably have like 3 different ones. Good coffee. Of course, I buy the processed creamer. I've tried cutting back on the amount that I pour in. I really have. And I've also given up candy. If it's candy, I will not eat it. And if it's soda pop, I will not drink it. But I still have my vices right now. I still like baked goods. I still partake. Now, I haven't substituted baked goods for like soda pop and candy. I don't say, well, somebody's offering me a piece of candy. Let me run and grab a baked good instead. No, I said, well, hey, I usually have my baked good, you know, quote, cookie, donut, or Danish in the morning. And maybe eventually one other sometime during the day. But I have noticed I've been feeling better since I backed off. I said the candy and the soda pop. All right, well, we got some lint balls in there. Lint balls in there, hairy stuff. So we want to clean that out. I'm going to have to locate a belt for it too. Well, there's one on here. So I'm going to take the roller out. The roller I'm going to actually do a bit of a recondition. That's one thing I learned when I was doing vacuum cleaner repair back in the day was it was always important that to recondition it. And we actually reconditioned excess amount of rollers and would sell them to people that came into the store. Just say, well, you need a new roller for your vacuum. Do you want to buy one? And you can bring your old one and maybe like a cord charge and get, you know, $5 off. I'm trying to pry this out of here without bending it. I need something more with a hook to get down under and pull it out. I'm thinking this is the ideal thing. The roller bar Polar 500. If you actually know what this is, go ahead and tell me in the comments. But it's not designed for roller bars, but I think it's going to work. Look at that. Put that down there, turn it, and pull. There we go. Now, like I say, when I used to work for the vacuum cleaner repair place, not only did they do vacuum cleaners, we also did washers and dryers. I'd restore those as well, and a washer and dryer's timer
You know, you change the dial to select the amount of time or the cycle you want on your washing machine. We used to rebuild those as well. But here's the roller, and you see it's not very appetizing. What I'm going to do is the end caps come off, and then there's a shaft that goes through there. And when you pull the end caps off, and then you can pull out the brushes. They'll come out of their holding. And then I would take it, and that's what I'm going to do with this one, and run it on the wire wheel back and forth, and then mask off this part, this one, and then paint the body black. All right, yeah. It's only hand tight right now. So, you know, we can pull the brushes out. And like I said, let's go ahead and wire brush this thing. My wire wheel is over there. Let's see if I can just... Yeah, unfortunately I can't enlarge. You can't zoom on this side. And that's... I don't know why they didn't give me zoom on this side. I'd have to turn the camera around to zoom. And then I couldn't see myself in the frame. Well, I don't think you're going to be missing that much by not being super close, but we can get you in a little closer. I actually have 3 grinders wire wheels. 1, 2, and 3. This one here is strictly the the old standard double wheel grinder. Bought that at a yard sale a couple years ago. It's a Blue Point. Got the cooling tray in it, but these are just motors with arbors stuck on the end. So let's fire it up. This side I didn't do, this side I did do. All right, well, I'll bring you back after I've wire brushed this thing pretty good. Well, I've ran the brush roller / beater bar all around the grinder. I started a wire wheel. I started out with a coarse wire wheel, and then I moved to the other one over there, which has a finer one on it. And it isn't necessarily about getting all the paint off, but trying to remove the heavy debris. And what it does also is feather down the paint that's still sticking. And it definitely puts a nice buff on the beater bars, where those were looking pretty gnarly. Now, nothing's going to happen to these beater bars, except they're going to be masked off. The condition that they're in, they're fine. They don't look as attractive as new, but I'm not about to try and get them... there's no sense in painting them silver, because that's just going to wear off right away, because they're beaten on the carpet. So the paint would just wear off right away. So I'm going to go ahead and mask this off with some blue masking tape, and then spray the body black. So let me get the masking tape. All right, now I've gone ahead and clamped the beater bar roller in the vise for, it's a third hand, because it's too hard trying to put this on otherwise. But we're going to just follow the edges of the beater bar. Accuracy counts, but If it's off, you know, or a hair here or there, that's not enough to say all drat and start all over. So I'm within that hair of beater bar exposed. So that's the long side. Now I gotta do the short side. Like I said, this is stands to be 100. I'm gonna guess because the other one had the bumper around it, and it sold for 187. If I can't find the bumper, maybe this one's gonna sell for 150. I'll let you know if you post in the comments. Let me know what it sold for, and then I'll answer it with the price. Well, listen to me slurping my coffee. I hope you don't mind. I got another piece of masking tape. I'm trying to use up this roll over here on my stand. I have a stand with a couple rolls of tape and a roll of paper towels on it. And it doesn't look like it's going to cooperate with me, so I may as well just go get the new roll. Hold on a moment. You stick with me. You can just keep an eye on the workbench till I get back. As I walk into the showroom, past my desk, into the drawer under the scale, there is a roll of masking tape. Like 90% of the stuff I own, this probably came from a yard sale. Now this one's a little easier to work with than that other one. What happens when your masking tape gets old, I'm sure you experience this, it does not want to unwind. So at that point it's best to throw it in the trash rather than fight with it. Time is money. Move this around where I can see the other side of the bar. I have the one side taped. Now this looks like 1.5 inches masking tape. I'm sure inches more than enough because I'm just getting a big crease on the top. So I can trim these ends off so they don't interfere with the paint job. I recently took a big obstacle out of my workshop. I had a scaffolding that was using it like a junk collecting center. So, I mean, yeah, I did use some of the stuff on it off and on, but it just took up too much room. It's behind my back. So I decided, get it out of here. Let's try and make this shop look more like a shop. All right, well, I'm tearing off the excess. I tore off just a hair too much on that one, so I just tear a pinky size, fingernail size piece off to cover up that little spot that I exposed on the buffer bar, beater bar. Not going to buff anything. Alright. Another trick, sometimes when you want to mask something off, instead of using tape, is use grease. But then you got to be careful not to get it on anything else. If you were able to control it well enough not to get it on something else, you can use grease. I've done that sometimes over name tags on things. All right, well, I'm going to take this outside and paint it, so hold on. This is what I'm using, Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. I know idyllically it's probably a bit on the cool side out there. We're probably reaching the temperature Yeah, here it says between 50 and 60, yeah, and 90. Yeah, so I think it's probably about 55 out there. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this outside and leave it sit out there. All right, well, I took that outside and I coated it. I stood it on end and coated it up and down. And I'll let that dry for 20 minutes, and then maybe I'll flip it over and then give it another coating in the other direction. So let's work on this part. Now, sometimes when I was building rollers, when I used to work at that place, we're talking, what, 1980s, yeah. You know, late 70s, early 80s. But there's a bearing in there, and sometimes it would be have to replace the bearing. But I don't feel any crunchiness, so we're just going to clean these up. I actually would sometimes repaint these silver when restoring a roller. All right, fire in the hole. Fire in the hole is the name of the last video I did before this, so take a look at that if you want to see me melting down some sterling silver and turning it into one large ingot. It was silver from antiques that were no longer had their antique value. People have lost interest in a lot of things like that, or the thing was damaged, or it just wasn't interesting enough. Where's my other cap? Oh, it fell on the floor when we were taking it apart, remember? Yeah, there it is. Woo! Now the idea is I call a mild restoration. We're not trying to get this to the point where anybody would mistake it for brand new. We just don't want it to look thoroughly neglected anymore. Here's another way of cleaning the lint out of these, is also to comb them with a wire brush. Watch, I almost combed it right into my coffee. There we go. Because you have to realize, when people look at something like this, they want to think, oh, you sent me somebody else's dirt, somebody else's slime and filth. So, especially when you can take pictures in of the bottom of this. When I go to list it on eBay, they can see the bottom, you know. You ever wonder why some people, I know sometimes on Marketplace and Craigslist, they'll have one picture of their object and maybe 2 lines of description. I'm like, well, you're smart enough to get it up on the internet. Why weren't you smart enough to put more than one picture and give me more than just 2 lines of description? Especially now with eBay, they have the AI can fill out the description for you. But you always want to double check it to make sure that it's legit, that it's definitely talking about yours. Let's see how well that's cleaned up. Set those aside. Let's go ahead and clean up the bottom plate. If I can just brush the inside of it with a dry scrub brush. This is the part you're not going to see unless, you know, it's taken apart again for servicing. But, you know, I would hope that there would be no time soon. But I wouldn't want them to say, oh, no, why, somebody left all that filth in here. Why'd that guy who sold it to me leave all that filth in there? Okay, well, I can spray it with a little cleaner and hit it with a rag. My cleaner of choice is usually whatever just happens to be in reach. And, that one don't have a spray top on it. I'm going to have to go to the showroom to look for a bottle of 409 or Spick and Span or Fabuso. Ah, here's Cinch. Cinch. Oh, well, that's made by Spick and Span. So I don't know why they just don't call it Spick and Span, but gets dirt off in a cinch. Now I need a rag. And here's this high quality towelette. Generally, a project like this is somewhat fun, especially if there's no stress. Like I have no deadline that this has to be done in, or I don't have to worry about meeting anybody's standards. I just like taking something that was lesser and making it greater than when I found it. Especially if there's money to be made in it too, you know. There's nothing wrong with making money. It's the love of money that is the root of all evil, not making money. So, I appreciate money. I don't love it. Well, the good Lord said, you know, if they don't work, don't let them eat. That's a scripture. It means everybody should do something to carry their weight, you know, unless you're actually incapacitated. So maybe I'll let this dry and then I can go ahead and hit it with what's it, like Armor All or something. There are a lot of things that will make your product, your item shine when you're getting ready to sell it. And now I might even like, quote, wax the body, but I wouldn't want to wax this. It's got ridges in it. All right, we'll put this aside with those brushes. And put that aside with these roller end caps. See, that's threaded. Oh, that's dirty. That's pretty dirty. The end caps thread on here, keeping the roller all together. Make sure I'm pulling off lint and not pulling off any felt that they may have purposely put on these things. No, that's pretty much lint there. Every once in a while something has felt on it to act as a dampener or oil retainer. Alright. Put these two screws over there. Alright, well next, let's go ahead and take the bag off. The bag is a little bit rough, but it's still, I think, got some life left in it. You know, my photographs will show it when I list it on the eBay that, look, it's a little bit split down here, but it's got a lot of life to go. If I start buying new parts, too many of them, you know, you start, you know, changing your profit margin. Plus, I have to sit around twiddling my thumbs until parts show up. There's a clamp that holds this just below the bellows. The bellows is the air tube, which allows the dirt to fly up into the bag and still remain flexible. Here's your bellows. Do you remember Dr. Bellows? I remember Dr. Bellows. All right, let's take this screw all the way out. And the bag will unclamp from, come on bag, unclamp. Am I doing something wrong here? Now I'm going to take this thing outside and blow the body out with compressed air. Don't want to do it in here because it just means I got dust settling on things in the shop. Plus it means I'm breathing in dust. You know, your lungs only want so much dust in a lifetime. Now I had to, here it goes. There it goes. That's your bellows. The fan forces air up into here with the dirt and sends it up into the bag. Now here's the damage to the bag right now. And being that this is the odd Hoover out back in its day, I'm not sure how obtainable this bag actually is, but it'll still look good and it'll still do the majority of its work. I guess there's probably somehow, some way you could patch that up. I'll think about that before I actually attempt anything. I mean, yeah, the lowbrow way would be just to slap some duct tape on it, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather just leave it with that little rip in it. But I'm going to take, ooh, I'm missing a bolt here, or a nut that actually comes through there. You can see this holds the handle on. So that's pretty much the same thing on all the Hoovers, so even the bigger ones. So I'll be able to get one off one of the other ones. This is the bolt side. The other's kind of like a nut, but it doesn't look anything like a nut because it's totally round. See, now this handle will pull up out of here, and it makes it easier for shipping. I said this handle will pull up out of there. Come on. Oh, okay, let's unwrap that first. Get a little slack. And it's still stopping. Okay, unhook it. Unhook it. Oh, sure, unhook it. There we go. And, oh, there's one of those bolts that belong on the back side. A nut. I need another one of these. I worked at the vacuum cleaner shop. I probably had a drawer with, you know, a collection of them in them. Well, I say I'll just make off from another one for now, but let me run this outside and blow all the dirt off of it. I'll be back. All right, well, I just got back from giving this the blowout. I have a compressor like it's in the middle of my building, and I ran one line rubber hose all the way from basically at the front of my building, I guess, And I ran this rubber hose all the way back here, and then there's another one up by the compressor itself that I can just take out the front door. So I used the other one, and I blew the interior of this out, and there was a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, a lot of hair, a lot of carpet lint. So I think for now, I'm going to give you guys a break. This video is running into 45 minutes, so consider this the Hoover Sucks Part 1, the Vintage Hoover. And we'll do a Part 2. All right, thanks, guys.